Welcome to SimpleLogic Podcast. I'm your host, Nola. And in this week's episode, we're going to be reacting to the blow-up between Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Yes, this is the blow-up heard around the country. And this happened a few days ago. And we're going to be reacting to that. And hopefully you signed up to our various social media platforms. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to us as a Real Supernola on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or Real Supernova on YouTube, and of course, SimpleLogic on Patreon. Let's take a listen.
Still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Yeah, that's what you
That's
do.
the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something in question, I'm jealous.
No,
yeah, I did
well,
what
I
I
never
did.
said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got three Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you. See what you do? You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal
Put your glasses back on.
Can I finish? You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you just
Go ahead.
you disrespect him. It's just so.
You
know what? It's beneath your
You would
dignity.
disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player who ever played your game, and it's by
Have
far.
at it. Have at it.
Okay,
Take off,
I'm going to have at it because I'm going to have at you.
Wow. Oh my God. What was that? What was that? And for those just joining us right now, they're actually debating about who is to blame for the loss of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at San Francisco. And so Shannon Sharpe said 100% Tom Brady. And the blow up was Skip pretty much called him jealous because Tom Brady's still playing at 45 and because he retired at 35. Now, for those who are not familiar with NFL football, Shannon Sharpe is one of the greatest tight ends ever in the history of the NFL. He won 3 Super Bowls, 2 with the Denver Broncos, and 1 with the Baltimore Ravens. So he's actually one of the few great players who has won Super Bowls at 2 different teams. Just like Tom Brady. So the idea that you would take a personal shot at Shannon Sharpe because he's actually making a point to say Brady is a fault for them losing. That was such a low blow. That was such a bitch slap on national TV. And for a guy who has so much pride as Shannon Sharpe, who's from the South Georgia, I don't think that relationship is ever going to be the same. Ever. Lately, if you're watching the show, about a few weeks ago, I noticed that Skip Bayless took a shot at Shannon Sharpe and his Twitter followers. You know, it's such a low blow out of left field. Like, why are you talking about his Twitter followers? Taking personal shots. There's animosity on the underbelly of these two. And I think their journey is almost at the end. For someone who has as much pride as Shannon Sharpe, I don't think he can take this any longer. Furthermore, this has become a talking point across the spectrum of other networks in which they are making fun of Shannon Sharpe. And if you know anything about professional athletes, especially the great ones, pride, that's something they never lose. And the respect of their peers is very important to them. When you have people like Charles Barkley and Shaq on TNT making fun of the interaction, when you have everybody on NFL Network, various media members talking about it on Twitter, fans who are alarmed, Kevin Durant, everybody making a comment, I think the seal is broken. I think this is the beginning of the end. And so I did some more research. In the month of December, Shannon Sharpe so far has posted segments of Undisputed on his Twitter only 3 times. Mind you, they are on television for about 3.5 hours, Monday through Friday, and he has posted 3 segments on his Twitter account for this month. But every single day he posts segments from his podcasts, which shows you what he's more passionate about. Now, that is incredible. I want you to take a look at it one more time. One more time.
Still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
That's what you
That's
do.
the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something in question, I'm jealous.
No.
Yeah, I did what I
never
did.
said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got 3
so
Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than
Way
you.
better.
See what you do? You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You
Ooh.
would take a personal
Take off your glasses.
Glasses back on.
Can I finish? You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because
Go ahead.
you disrespect him. It's just so.
you would just-
you know what? It's beneath your
You would
dignity.
disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player who ever played your game, and it's by
Have
far.
at it. Have at it.
Okay,
Take off,
I'm
brother.
going to have at it because I'm going to have at you.
I'm going to have at it, and I'm going to have at you. And I'm going to take his side, disrespect you at his expense because he's a greater player than you. These things don't even make any sense if you're just evaluating someone's play. And if anybody is qualified to evaluate Tom Brady's play, it's a fellow Hall of Famer who actually played the sport for so many years. Not just a talking head who averaged 1.4 points per game for high school basketball. This is incredible. It's like watching the Twilight Zone. But at the same time, let this be a lesson for Shannon Sharpe. Because one of the beefs that I have when it comes to sports talk on TV or radio is, in most cases, you have this unathletic white guys, okay, that get this position. It usually takes a former athlete who's a black guy to make it on that stage alongside some mediocre white guy because he was a newspaper writer or radio personality or something. And they talk like they have the authority to tell you what to say, knowing fully well they don't know the nuances of the ins and outs of what it takes to be a great player. That was so foul. That was such a low blow. Now, when it comes to production, off the record, behind the scenes, people do talk. I mean, these two have been together for about 6 years. So I'm pretty sure they do have some off TV talks. And it is a possibility that Skip believes that Shannon Sharpe had little to no respect for Brady as a great or the greatest player in NFL football. And I think that's where that came from. Because you know when sometimes you talk to somebody that you believe is your friend or your colleague or somebody you're pretty close to, and in the heat of the moment they bring something up to try to throw it in your face, and the audience is like, where did that come from? I think it's a possibility that some talk they had at some point where Shannon Sharpe goes, man, I don't believe he's the greatest player in football, NFL history. He doesn't do anything but pass the ball. He doesn't block. He doesn't defend. He doesn't do anything except pass the ball. So how can he be the greatest? And he's not the most athletic person. So I believe there's a probability that Shannon Sharpe actually made that point to Skip off the record. And that's why he brought that up. And the idea that he's playing to 45, maybe Shannon said something off the record to Skip and said, you know what? He can play to 45 because he's not doing anything. He doesn't have to block. He doesn't have to get hit as much and whatnot. And Skip is using that. Because I don't believe that came from nowhere. Even if you disagree with Shannon's point, you don't have to attack him personally. Because Shannon could have come back and said, you know what? I am better than you, and you're not even qualified to talk about the sport because you never played. Now, that would be a personal shot. Because we know fully well what happened years ago on First Take when Skip Bayless got attacked by Jalen Rose when he tried to take personal shots at Jalen Rose. Do you remember that? Let me refresh your memory.
The positions were only created so a novice could follow the game. Just because you're a power forward, that doesn't make you physical. Just because you're a shooting guard, that don't mean you can jack up threes. That's
What
just
were
the
you,
position.
Jalen? What were you?
Where were you? Did you
What
average,
were you?
Did you average 1.4 points as a senior in high school?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Oops.
So all of that Pistol P stuff, Water, Pistol P, June.
Okay. Well, we'll address that later.
No, we won't. You
Don't
didn't.
ignore that. Did you play junior?
Yeah.
You play JV as a junior?
Yeah.
That was earth shaking. Skip wasn't expecting that because he figured he would just run up with the mouth and attack someone like Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose is a member of the Fab Five. They changed college basketball, men's college basketball. Are you kidding me? With the black socks, with the long shorts, with the bald head. He's from Detroit. You're not going to take shots at him. He will have a comeback waiting for you. That's street stuff. And he tried that with Jalen Rose and he got stung. What were you? Why would you ask him what were you? You can't hold his water. And the way he undressed Shannon Sharpe, I hope Shannon Sharpe has learned this lesson. That these people, some of these people, will throw you under the bus first chance they have. Because, oh my God, to tell you, oh yeah, you're just jealous. The reason why you're blaming him is because you're just jealous. You retired at 35 because he's still playing at 45. First of all, they don't play the same position. Why would you be jealous? Why would a tight end be jealous of a quarterback? Makes no sense whatsoever. And one more thing. Does everybody remember the day after the Oscars when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock? Shannon Sharpe. On that day, I'm not even sure why Undisputed was talking about the Oscars, but everybody was talking about it. It was such a monumental, earth-shaking moment at the Oscars that Will Smith walked up to Chris Rock and slapped him just because he made a joke about his wife. But Shannon Sharpe said something significant that went viral during that segment. He talked about what he would have done to Will Smith if Will Smith had disrespected him. For those who don't remember, let's take a look.
But also would have been at the perpetuity. I don't care about that judge. I would whip Will Smith ass.
I know you.
I would have whipped, he'd have had to whip me or I'd have had to whip him. And every time I see him, it's on sight. There ain't nothing to say for it. But also would have been at the perpetuity. I don't care about that judge.
Shannon,
I would whip Will Smith ass.
you would?
I would have whipped, he'd have had to whip me or I'd have had to whip him. And every time I see him, it's on sight. There ain't nothing to say for it. But also would have been
I don't know, Shannon. I don't know if you would have done that. I don't know, Shannon. I don't know if you would have done that. Maybe you would have done that because, for some reason, black people are not afraid to freaking assault other black people when they feel disrespected. Well, all I know is this man, an athletic 70-year-old man, told you to put your glasses back on. You're jealous of Tom Brady because you couldn't play the 45 because you retired at 35. Emasculated you on national TV, and you didn't whoop his ass. Now, I don't condone violence. I'm just trying to make a point. That we could talk all this good game about what we're going to do, but when we're confronted by some of those circumstances, we just shut up sometimes. And Shannon, you did shut up that day. Let's go back. Let's refresh our memory to what you did, Shannon.
Still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
That's what you
That's
do.
the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No,
Yeah, I did what
I
I
never
did.
said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got
so what?
three Super
So
Bowls.
what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
Oh my God.
Yeah, see what you do? You take personal shots.
No, I don't take.
Shannon, he said he's way better than you ever was. So why didn't you say, oh, wait, but I'm better than you, and we are better than you, so why are you talking? Oh, you couldn't do that because that's your boss. So he emasculated you on national TV. And when you took up your glasses, he told you, put your glasses back on, and I'm going to go at you. Holy cow, Shannon Sharpe. And he never apologized. Because you know what? Because he believes you work for him. And you can't do anything about it.
Personal shots, you started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I can tell you right now, dude.
Wait a
What are
minute.
you talking about?
You would take a personal
Put
shot.
your glasses back on.
Put your glasses back on.
You willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you just
Go ahead.
you disrespect him. It's just so.
So you would
You know what? It's beneath your
You would
dignity.
disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody.
Yes,
He's the greatest player
he
ever
would.
played your game, and it's by far.
Have at it.
Okay,
Take off,
I'm
bro.
going to have at it because I'm going to have at you.
I'm going to have at it. And I'm going to have at you. Oh, my goodness. Shannon Sharpe. Look, you got to reevaluate your partnership with this man. Because you know what? He's going to do it again. That is a bitch slap on national TV from a guy who can't hold your job when it comes to sports. All he does is run his mouth, discredit some of the greatest players that ever lived, and he picked you on that day. And he diminished your contribution to the National Football League. You are one of the greatest tight ends ever. You did not deserve to get disrespected like that just because you debated the performance of Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback that ever lived. Well, Tom Brady, year 2022, he's not playing very well. And you are more than qualified to actually spell that out. More than anybody on that platform, and including Skip Bayless. And the idea that he would just shut you up, take low blows at you, just because you pointed out that Tom Brady is not playing well, should let you know what he thinks about you. Now, I'm not saying you need to be unprofessional and quit your job, but it's something to be noted that even you, Shannon Sharpe, one of the greatest tight ends to ever lace him up on the gridiron, Skip Bayless feels like, you know what? You're just a tool that he can kick around for his ultimate agenda. And that's really sad. That's it for today. Questions, comments, and concerns, feel free to reach out to us on one of our social media platforms. That's Real Supernola on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And that's SimpleLogic on Patreon. I'm Nola. I'm your host, and we'll be back next time.